from Appleton, Wisconsin. This is the Anderson Pens Podcast.
But there's too many of them.
Too many? No, just one, Brian. You eat one billionaire, and I guarantee the rest will fall in line. Oh, we're on.
Welcome to Anderson Pens Podcast episode 437 for Thursday, April 28th, 2022.
This week we have Banter, news updates, My Ink of the Week, a season of festivals from Sailor, an ocean of mystery inks from Sailor, 2 new states from Sailor, a contest winner, a new contest, plus a Pelikan, and yes, even more inks that are coming soon. You have a joke? I forgot to ask. This is the joke.
So 2 cats.
Okay, here it comes.
Were having a race on the water. They were swimming.
Okay, 2 cats are swimming, racing.
One was called 1, 2, 3. The other one was called Un, deux, trois. Which cat won?
Well, I think I know, but I won't. You go for it.
1, 2, 3 because Un, deux, trois cat sank.
Yes. I don't have a joke this week, but I have an interesting fact.
Okay.
As you probably know, SCUBA is an acronym for Self-Contained Underwater Breathing
Correct,
Apparatus.
yep.
And as a musician, you may know that tuba is also an acronym for Terrible Underwater Breathing Apparatus. Brian, do you remember our location bumper from last week was...
No.
Bagelicious, right
Bagelicious,
there on the
yes,
corner.
Okay, yes.
This week, right next door to Bagelicious, was Hoot and Company.
Hoot and Company, okay.
It is, of course, right next door to Bagelicious. It is a boutique selling women's clothing and accessories. A boutique, along with unique decor and gifts, including handcrafted items from local artisans. It's cute. I have never stepped foot inside.
I've always wondered. It does have a cute, nice window display.
Cute facade. Mm-hmm. It was photographable.
Great.
Videographable. Today is Thursday, and I know where you are. You're not actually right here.
I'm not actually here.
You're in Chicago at the Chicago Pen Shop.
I am. I've probably spent my entire budget
I'm
by
absolutely
now.
sure you did, and you'll be there today and tomorrow.
Yep.
And there's an Esterbrook event with Carrie Yeager today as well in Chicago at
AP
Anderson
Chicago.
Pens Chicago from noon to 5. You won't be there, but Lisa will be there.
Yep.
Carrie will be there. And this weekend is the 2-day in-store event in Anderson Pen Chicago. It's
going to be fun.
Nib customization and pen repair event with the Kennedys. Lisa has just published a blog post for what to expect, and she sort of tells you about nib grinds and so forth and so on. This coming Monday, Coles of London event at Anderson Pen Chicago, which will be Visconti and St. Dupont, for which you're staying.
I will.
You're staying. Yep. Which brings me to something very interesting is going to happen next week. I think it'll be the first Anderson Pens podcast without an Anderson. Yeah, because Steph's going to do it with me next week to give you time to catch your breath driving home. Today, April 28th. Is that what today is? You just announced it.
Yes.
Okay. Today, April 28th, is Global Pay It Forward Day.
Okay.
Pay It Forward Day is a worldwide celebration of kindness that takes place every year on April 28th, not associated with any organization or foundation. Pay It Forward Day exists to encourage people to stand for kindness out of the goodness of their hearts. The mission is to inspire acts of kindness in the hopes that the ripple of good will continue throughout the entire year. It's a day I can get behind. I like it.
And if I stand behind you at the coffee shop, then...
That's true. That has happened to me, actually. Someone at a Starbucks drive-thru paid for my coffee.
Never happened to me.
It's only happened once, but it was a good feeling. And then I drove away feeling good, and like half a block away, I said, I probably should have paid for the person behind me. Yeah, I'm new here. Give me a break. Also coming up next week, on Wednesday, I believe, is I've figured out a way to get lots of letters coming in and lots of comments. So just play with me.
Okay.
Here. Next Wednesday is a day that will make all Star Trek fans very happy because it's May the 4th. See? Just make everybody angry. It's actually May the 4th.
May the 4th, yes.
And I walked through the store and found this sign and said, what do we have for Star Wars? And
we
Amanda
have this.
said we have these 4 pens.
Exactly 4.
Exactly 4. They are, what are they? They're Schaefer's?
Schaefer Star Wars rollerballs.
They're rollerballs, okay.
Kylo Ren.
Kylo Ren rollerballs. One of my favorite characters.
Is it?
In Star Trek? Kind of. So I just thought I'd mention that because before we have another podcast that is coming up, and of course I didn't mean Star Trek, but I wanted the letter. So please comment below. On YouTube, last Friday we posted Steph's top 5 green inks. I hope you watched that.
I did.
Last Sunday we did Anderson Penn's Sunday Brunch Menu 4, which was a pleasure. Tomorrow, Friday, we're going to publish Mr. Paper, who will review Lamy notebooks. And you know who Mr. Paper is now?
Steph.
Steph is Mr. Paper. And this coming Sunday, we will publish Anderson Penn's Sunday Brunch Menu 5, where you and I will talk about how to pull a nib and feed. And
There was a blooper in there.
Was there a blooper?
Well,
I was going to say I can kind of see the future on
something
this one.
didn't really go quite as planned.
You're going to have a little trouble perhaps with an Esterbrook nib. I'm going to eyedropper a pen just for fun, right in front of the camera.
I should note that afternoon, I actually successfully disassembled
that same nib.
Not that nib, but 2 others. So.
Well, as soon as the camera stopped, you grabbed another one and it came right out.
Yeah.
That's the way it goes. My ink of the week. Speaking of inks of the week, was and is Iroshizuku Yamabudo. What color would you call it?
That's a pinkish, it's a magenta.
Yeah, I'm calling it a magenta-y purple.
Yeah.
It's an interesting color. I like the swab and my handprint a little bit more than the writing. Because it gets
nice sheen to it, nice sheen,
green sheen to it. I don't know that I'd want to look at it all the time, but it is pleasant. It has a bit of green sheen. It's quite saturated. At least it was for me. So there's a little bit of show through, and of course depends on the paper you're using. Good flow, no feathering. As far as cleanup is concerned, on a scale of 1 to 10, 10 being most difficult, I would put this as a solid pain in
Is this the hardest one you've had so far?
So far, the hardest.
Okay.
I'm going to say it's a 9 because I might come across one that is even more difficult.
What's your hand look like? It's still, your hand is still. Yeah.
So
when did you do that? Last week?
This morning. But I judge it on how many scrubbings. I mean, this stuff wouldn't even come off the soap bar, the bar soap. So this is very difficult. It, of course, comes in a lovely bottle.
Beautiful bottle.
Those are gorgeous bottles, 50 milliliters, and we sell samples of these, the 3 milliliters. Still one of my favorite bottles.
Yeah, that's nice.
I like, we'll talk about many of them, the little cubes. I like those cubes. But these are just
a nice
beautiful
aesthetic.
and photogenic and nice to have on your shelf.
What do you call an invisible droid? C-3PO.
Something just came in.
It did.
And
Literally.
we have them right here in front of us, and I really like them. I really like them.
This is the first time I'm actually seeing them because I didn't actually.
Right. I tried to keep them from you so we could get your first impressions right here. These are, of course, the seasonal festival series pens by Sailor. I have a green one here that is called a Seri.
Okay.
This one is a Momo, and that's a pinkish.
It's quite a lovely
pastel
color.
pink.
Yeah.
It's a very lovely pink.
This is.
You have a koi.
Koi.
And then you have
I like this one.
Sasa.
Sasa. That's like a teal.
And then you have a Kiku.
A nice
Kiku,
coral.
which is a coral. You said the koi. You like the koi? This Justin said that's his favorite.
Is it?
Yeah,
Okay.
Just-
This is such a unique color though. This Sasa.
I think they're all fairly unique. The information we have, of course, is revel in some of Japan's traditional celebrations with the seasonal festival series by Sailor. Each fountain pen in this series was designed in honor of one of the 5 seasonal festivals that take place in Japan each year. They are, of course, Pro Gear Slim fountain pens. The Seri, designed in a gentle green to represent the Jinjitsu Festival, which focuses on good health for the coming year. Then there's the Momo, that's that pastel pink, to go along with the Joshi Festival that celebrates good health and growth for girls. The deep gray-blue pen Koi, Justin's favorite, goes alongside the Tango Festival, which celebrates good health and growth for boys. Then a brighter teal pastel pen called Sasa represents the Tanabata Festival that centers on wishing for dreams to come true. Finally, there is Kiku, a soft coral that parallels the Choyo Festival, a celebration of long life. And I really like this one even though it has something I don't care for.
Gold
trim.
You have more pens now with gold trim than with silver trim.
I'll have to take an inventory. But
don't do that.
This
not
this is a beautiful color.
Yeah.
It would make you happy just to use it on a daily basis.
They have just a subtle sparkle to them. Not a lot. It's just very, very subtle.
Let me see this one. Subtle sparkle.
It's very subtle.
You mean you've made it up?
No, you could. You could miss it under the light. Right,
you can make it. You can miss it. Each pen comes in an elegant box. Of course, this is the elegant box. The pen is up top, and each one comes with Ukiyoe ink, matching.
So, 20 ml bottle.
20 ml, and the converter. Presented very nicely, I think. So, these are just in, and we've been waiting for them. So, I'm going to have to think about this.
Pro-Gear Slim 14 karat nib.
Available in what sizes?
Fine, medium fine, and medium.
That medium fine is interesting.
Yep.
Medium fine is
lovely,
interesting.
lovely colors. This is a nice, very nice palette.
Yes, it is. Why don't we put those with those? Da-da-da-da-da. Also just in are the Yuremeko inks.
Yes.
And speaking of palettes, I have a special order here.
Okay.
We start on mine.
Okay. All right.
This release offers 9 new colors ranging from soft browns to cloudy blues to earthy greens and delicate purples. Perhaps what is most exciting about Yuremeko inks by Sailor is that these colors will change depending on the paper that is used as well as the length of time that the inks have to develop on that paper. These mysterious inks invite you to try them out on your favorite papers to see how the colors will appear and watch how they change over time. So you don't even know what you're getting, which
it's difficult to. Yeah, I mean, I'm looking at these swab cards, and some of them are amazing.
The first one is Kyokuya, which is an army green. Of course, it comes in these nice bottles, which are 20
ice cubes.
Yep. And we've done the swab cards already, but I can't tell you what they're going to look like in a week because it says over time.
Yeah, I wonder.
So
if
army
they're talking
green,
drying time or.
True. Army green is how they described it, so I will call it army green. Then we have Kitsune Biyori, which is a brick color.
See that?
It's not a red brick though.
It's interesting.
Do I have the right one? Yes, that's the right one. But some bricks are that color, and of course the bottle. Who's next? The Kangyo, which they describe as lavender, which is pretty easy for me to understand, and I would call that a lavender.
Yep.
It is a shade of lavender. Each, of course, in a lovely box. Lovely square box. Lavender. Kyokou. I can't say that. You try.
Kyoko.
Okay.
Kyoko.
Periwinkle. Not one of my favorite colors, periwinkle.
No.
I find it a little boring.
That's interesting.
But this one is interesting.
It's very interesting.
Because they've washed it out a bit.
Definitely multiple shades in there. You've got some green, and you've got a little purple.
This is probably the best periwinkle I've ever seen, but I'll have to check with Steph to see if we can legally call it periwinkle.
She is the expert.
Last on my side is the Yoi, which is a colorful black. What do you think?
It is kind of it is a dark blackish, grayish, purplish.
It has some colors in there well, you have to study it to see that.
Very complex.
But I wouldn't say it's black.
No,
it's colorful black is probably the best way to describe it. On your end of the table, we have Byakuya.
This is interesting. Yeah,
Byakuya, which is a muted purple gray. Oh,
it's very. You've got reds, pinks.
That's very interesting.
Little green in there, gray.
I can see that in a broad nib, looking very nice. Yeah. I'm not sure about my fine nibs, but I'm willing to try it. And then you have Seki, which is a mauve.
So that's got a little bit darker version.
Right. It's almost the same, but different.
Yeah. So
this one has more colors to it, or lighter colors. Itazora, which is a blue-leaning gray.
I like this. This is nice.
That is interesting.
This is beautiful.
It's a gray that leans blue. A blue-leaning gray.
Green? Almost a little teal in there.
Let me see.
A little green?
I thought I saw sparkle, but there's no sparkles in here.
No.
But what's interesting to me is it'll change depending on
what
the paper.
Yeah. So.
And then you have Amamayoyu. I can't pronounce it. It's olive.
Olive. It's nice. This is nice.
Yeah, I think Justin would like that color.
It's got the nice kind of reddish on the top,
and he likes olive green inks.
So yeah, these are going to be real interesting.
These are in stock, and if they haven't sold out yet, they're available right now. But I think I need one of each just to play with them, because
I think I need this
cool.
Itezora.
Okay.
I think that's my
I
favorite.
can hook you up with. You just step over the cash register.
I need a new pen to put it in, though.
Here you go. Which color matches the...
I like this pen. This pen and that. That would actually be a really great combo.
That'll work. There we go.
All right.
And cut. Something else came in. And in fact, it came in just before we hit record.
Literally, yes. Yeah.
And
Still cold.
I gave Wisconsin to you.
Yes.
And I have Indiana. And we don't have B-roll of this, but we do have pictures. Why don't you tell us all about Wisconsin here? Because you're a Wisconsinite.
I am a Wisconsinite. Wisconsinites celebrate spring with the blooming of our state flower, the wood violet. This deep blue flower brings a welcome pop of color to the spring landscape and is a delight for travelers on their post-winter walks. The royal violet of Sailor, Wisconsin ink makes for easy reading with a splash of joyful color.
Are you familiar with the state flower?
Yes,
The wood violet?
yes, wood violet.
Do you see them? Are they on every corner?
I don't see any in my...
How about your drive to work?
I don't know.
Okay. Could you identify one if you saw it?
Probably not.
Okay.
It's going to be this color.
To be that color. Yeah, Justin said the same thing, and he's from Wisconsin. He said, I don't know that I could identify one. And I'm really anxious to open this up.
This looks like it's going to be a really great
purple.
purple. We're very excited to get it.
So that's the state flower of Wisconsin. And for Indiana, we are talking about one of the most celebrated flowers is the peony. And that's what this is based on. I imagine it's the state flower of Indiana. The multi-layered flower is the iconic state flower for the state of Indiana. And blooms in various shades of pink, from a blushing ballet slipper to a gentle magenta. Sailor Indiana ink captures these colorful blooms in a bright pink, dark enough for clarity, with soft rosy shading for added texture and depth.
I had no idea ballet
slipper
could blush.
I'm glad they say that it's dark enough for clarity, which I interpret to mean you can easily read it.
You can use it
paper.
every day.
So I will have to try that one, but I am most interested in that.
This looks great. I like dark purples. I like how that sits.
And you've seen the artwork provided by Sailor, and it looks very interesting.
It's great.
They're doing 50 because there are 50 states, and with these two, they're up to 24.
Great.
So we're getting there, slowly but surely. So there you go.
What program do Jedi use to open PDF files? Adobe Wan Kenobi.
Mr. Anderson.
Yes.
We did a contest last week.
We did?
Actually, it was a survey. But, there was a prize to win, so I can call it a contest. The survey asked, must the nib match the trim on a fountain pen? And did you give me an answer?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure I went with, I prefer it to.
Should.
Yes.
You went with should.
It should.
And I went with yes. I'm going to say it must.
It's my preferred choice. Sometimes it's not always possible, but
it bugs me if it doesn't. But I can tell you what our audience felt about it. Lots of votes. 63% said must match. So that's a large majority. 31% says doesn't matter. Most of them added doesn't matter as long as the writing experience is good, which of course is probably more important than
it is a writing instrument after all. So.
Yes. And 6% said should match. But there are some exceptions, and I think that's basically what you just said.
Waterman 452. Sterling silver overlay.
Has to have a gold nib.
Has to have a gold nib. And they didn't do a rhodium plated gold nib back then, so that would be, those are the exceptions for me.
So your exceptions are vintage pens.
Well, yeah.
Basically.
Yeah.
I do have some comments. Marilyn Gardner, I have just a few pens in my collection where the nibs do not match the trim, and I need to avert my eyes when I use them. And yes, that's how I feel too. Okay. Lisa DeGroff, I've seen a few pens where the nib and trim metals don't match, and I really don't like it. The whole time I'm looking at them is the only thing I can see.
Yep.
It bugs me too.
Yep.
Heather J. Weaver, thanks for a great episode. I always enjoy texting your jokes to my husband at work.
Nice.
I'm absolutely in the matching camp.
Okay, yeah.
And then we had Eric Schroeder, another great episode. Many people said a great episode. So I don't know what we did. Well, it was a great episode. He continues, I don't care if the nib matches as long as it writes well, which is a perfectly understandable stance. Daniel St. Marie, I've never really paid attention to the nib color matching the clip. It does not matter to me. The writing experience is all that matters to me in this regard. And then Ira Stone. Never even thought about whether the nib should match the clip. Doesn't matter at all. I'm going to still say it matters for me.
I think for the most part, manufacturers, they get it right. It's gold with gold, or now we have a lot of plated nibs, that we didn't have.
I think it's unusual to not have them match.
Yes, it is it's an exception rather than a rule.
I did not purchase the Vanishing Point LS, the new ones that just came out, the Stealth one. But if I had, I would have been required to get a black nib to match,
swap
because
it
that
out.
simply would have bugged me no end.
Yeah.
But when I get one of those, I think I'll get the burgundy.
Yes.
Winner.
Yes.
We have a winner of
Great.
this particular contest. Winner's name, Lynn Hayes, whose comment was, I prefer matching nibs or contrasting colors. I think the Vanishing Point should have been black to match. Okay, so we're on the same page.
Yeah.
Lynn, please write to me, eric@andersonpens.com, and we'll hook you up with that $20 credit to your account. There was an off-topic comment that I'm going to mention. It was from Herbert Schultz, who said, my first comment, period. So welcome, Herbert, and thank you for posting your first comment on our podcast.
The first comment was your first comment.
My first comment. That'll
Great.
live famously. A new contest for this week, suggested by Mr. Anderson himself, so why don't you tell us all about it?
What pen do you have that never leaves the house? That maybe it's
too valuable.
It's too valuable.
Irreplaceable.
Irreplaceable. It's your grandfather's pen.
I'm a hermit.
It's the most expensive pen you ever bought, so you don't want to take it to work. You're afraid it's going to get stolen.
Good question. And I'm trying to think if I have one that never leaves that I would say this is never going anywhere. Obviously, I have a lot of pens that I probably wouldn't take outside the house, but I would have no problem bringing them to Anderson Pens for like a Sunday brunch or something.
Yeah.
But I probably wouldn't travel with them, go on a plane. And you have probably lots of pens that just simply cannot leave your house.
I have a few that probably I wouldn't.
Yeah.
They're mostly vintage that would not.
Because you'll never see them again.
Yeah, the one that comes to top of my mind is an Esterbrook Relief 314 is made by Wirt. It's mottled hard rubber. It's a taper cap, mint condition.
You're making this up as you go. Right?
I'm not making this up. Wirt made, so it has a ventless 14 karat gold nib with the vented feed, and it's superb.
Can't go anywhere. So that's not with you right now in Chicago.
No.
But you would bring it to the store for a Sunday brunch, if you show and tell?
It left the house once to be photographed.
Okay. So there are exceptions.
So I'm still waiting for that photograph to get edited.
I mean, one day I'll have an emperor, and there's no reason for that to ever leave the house. You need a whole suitcase just for the emperor. But that's a good question. So even if you don't have a pen right now that never leaves the house, maybe you could say, if I ever get the emperor, when I get the emperor, it's probably never going anywhere. Yeah. Except
like
photographs.
My 110th anniversary, I mean, it is truly a desk pen. There's no clip. Even if it had a clip, it's too big to...
True. If you have a desk pen, that automatically qualifies as a pen that never leaves you.
And it's plain sterling silver. So if I were to take it with me, I'm afraid it's going to get nicked up and banged up, and now it just sits.
Well, you have a lot of pens, and I imagine a lot of them would never leave the house.
You'd be surprised. There's a small handful that I would really put in that category.
Okay. But you have a lot of pens you never use, too. They're just collectors.
That is
true.
true.
Collect pens. I collect pens that are users. I like to use my pens.
I collect pens that were used.
Yes. You collect used pens, and I collect user pens. We could do this a little
all day long. I'm here till Thursday.
I've switched the cue cards for us so we can, for a moment, talk about something that's
It's not like
ink.
you're going to trip me up. I didn't see him in the first place.
Well, the next one is ink.
Okay.
So we're going to skip the ink for just a moment and talk about the Pelikan M605 Tortoiseshell Black.
Yes.
When I heard the name Tortoiseshell Black, my mind went, ew, because I have
It's hard to grasp your head around that.
But when I saw the pictures, I said, okay, this is kind of interesting.
Yeah.
It is not here yet, but we will find some pictures. Brian, what do you know about this pen?
It's the Pelikan Sovereign M605, tortoiseshell black piston filling pen. A body is black and marbled silvery gray striped celluloid acetate. Black cap, rhodium plated trim, thus the 05. 14 karat rhodium plated gold nib, a very smooth writer. It does tend to run a bit on the wide side. And it's a mid-sized pen, and it's comfortable in the hand, and it's not too large for most writers. And I think the 605, it's almost a perfect size.
I've never
for
owned a
most
605. My favorite size is the 800.
800, yep.
But I have to look at this one.
I had a 600 for a long time, and it was just perfect. I love that pen.
My favorite Pelikan ever is the M800 in tortoiseshell brown, which I think they just called tortoiseshell.
Yep.
But now that they're changing the colors of the tortoiseshell, they add the color to it. It comes in extra fine and medium.
Yes. Yeah.
Which are wider than.
Yeah, your extra fine is it's not like your Sailor extra fine
not
or
at
anything.
all.
You know.
And these will be here
Soon.
Very good.
Real soon. Yeah. Whenever they ship them.
Also on the horizon, 8 new Tasha Ukiyoe inks.
Great.
That I don't know much about. There's 4 inks from one artist and 4 inks from another artist, and I think they're colors from the palette of each artist.
Correct.
There's Utamaro, and there's a crimson cherry blossom, a blue purple, a light black, a plum purple, and there's Hiroshige, sky blue, lapis lazuli, red purple, and blue gray. I'll have Justin show some pictures of whatever we got as far as pictures, and I'll tell you what I know about Utamaro, just off the top of my head.
Off the top of your head.
Yes.
Dinner conversation.
Kitagawa Utamaro was the full name, was a Japanese artist. If I recall correctly, he is one of the most highly regarded designers of ukiyo-e woodblock prints and paintings, and is best known for his large-headed pictures of beautiful women. And I don't think the pictures are large. I think the women have large heads.
Large heads, okay.
But they're beautiful. And these were of the 1790s. He also produced nature studies, particularly illustrated books of insects. Little is known of Utamaro's life. His work began to appear in the 1770s, and he rose to prominence in the early 1790s with his portraits of beauties with exaggerated, elongated features. He produced over 2,000 known prints and was one of the few ukiyo-e artists to achieve fame throughout Japan during his own lifetime. Utamaro's work reached Europe in the mid-19th century, where it was very popular, enjoying particular acclaim in France. He influenced the European Impressionists, particularly with his use of partial views and his emphasis on light and shade, which they imitated. Now, I've done my job. What do you know off the top of your head? I've often said you're a walking in Wikipedia. What do you know about Utagawa?
Utagawa Hiroshige was a Japanese ukiyo-e artist. Considered the last great master of that tradition, Hiroshige is best known for his horizontal format landscape series, the 53 Stations of Tokaido, and for his vertical format landscape series, 100 Famous Views of Edo. The subjects of his work were atypical of the ukiyo-e genre, whose typical focus was on beautiful women, popular actors, and other scenes of the urban pleasure districts of Japan's Edo period. The popular series 36 Views of Mount Fuji by Hokusai was a strong influence on Hiroshige's choice of subject, though Hiroshige's approach was more poetic and ambient than Hokusai's bolder, more formal prints. Hiroshige's death marked the beginning of a rapid decline in the ukiyo-e genre. Hiroshige's work came to have a marked influence on Western European painting towards the close of the 19th century. Western European artists such as Manet and Monet collected and closely studied Hiroshige's compositions. Vincent van Gogh even went so far as to paint copies of 2 of Hiroshige's prints.
Fascinating. Absolutely. And bravo, Mr.
That was just off the top of my head.
You are an expert. They pick very nice colors.
They look
and
nice.
They went to a very
nice.
good source for these colors. All of the ukiyo-e inks.
They're very nice.
That's a brilliant idea.
Yes.
And I look forward to these coming.
And you have to buy 2 boxes.
And you have to buy 2
buy
boxes
two because then you
the
can make
artwork.
You can.
I think we mention that all the time,
Yes,
but you have to buy
it's-
two bottles because they'll come in the boxes. And these will be here
Soon.
Yeah. Very good. That's all I have.
Thanks for joining us. Tune in next time for more talk about pens, ink, and paper.
You can check us out on social media as Anderson Pens, and I understand there's a store in Chicago.
Is a store in Chicago. You'll see me there actually this weekend. It's on the ground floor of the Palmer House Hilton, open 7 days a week. You can go see Lisa there.
Does it have a website?
It does, chicago.andersonpens.com.
Fantastic. Please like this video and consider subscribing to our YouTube channel. And Steph and I will see you next week.
See you next time.
Bye.
Bye.